Good morning, Calvary Baptist Church, and for those who are watching this online, if you want to open your Bibles up, we are going to be going to James chapter 4, verses 13 to 17. That is James chapter 4, and I will be reading from verses 13 down to verse 17. Today's message is titled Future Plans. Future Plans. Starting at verse 13. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow, we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there, and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. May God bless the reading of his word. Now, you have probably heard someone say to you at some point in life, the older you get, the faster time goes by in life. And we know that time doesn't actually go by faster, but I'm sure we would all agree that it definitely seems that way. And when we come to this passage in James, we are reminded about how short our life is here on earth. James says, for you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Every morning, I like to have a coffee with my breakfast. And when I boil the water in the kettle, it reaches its boiling point. The mist, which looks like white smoke that comes up out of the kettle, is there for a second and then it is gone. And James is saying, that is your life. That is my life here on earth. For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. And in verse 13, it is a picture of a business person who is confidently making plans for the future as if it is a for sure thing that is going to happen. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. The verse is a picture of someone who is making plans as if the future is in their hands, not realizing that their life is like a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. This passage is similar to the parable over in Luke 12 of verse 18 to 20. Where the rich fool says, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Talking about the future as if it is a for sure thing that is going to happen is arrogant because it is leaving God out of it. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? If we are not careful, we can fail to realize how short life is. Now, I want to be clear here this morning that James is not going against making plans for the future or having a retirement fund. What James is against is making plans as if the future is in our hands instead of God's hands. What James is against is not acknowledging the sovereignty and providence of God over our lives. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. By saying, Lord willing, we are acknowledging the sovereignty of God over our lives. To make future plans without taking into consideration the sovereignty of God is arrogant. And the reason it is arrogant is because the future is in God's hands, not ours. So if we're talking as if the future is in our hands, then it is arrogant because we are putting ourselves on the same level as God. Our life is so short here on earth. We are not even guaranteed tonight. And we do not want to take our time here on earth for granted. When I make plans, I like to say, Lord willing, or by the grace of God. And that is just one way we can acknowledge God's providence and lordship over our lives. Although it is more than just slapping a title at the end of something we say. It is about submitting our plans to the Lord and acknowledging His providence over our lives. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Not only is there sins of commission, such as lying or stealing, there's also sins of omission, which are things we don't do that we should. As Christians, we know that we are just passing through this life, and our time on earth is short. And I want to encourage all of us to share our faith with someone this week, or to reach out to someone we can share the gospel with. Maybe you know someone you can call over the phone and share the good news with them, or your personal testimony about how Christ has changed and transformed your life. Let us be bold in our faith. As I said in one of my previous sermons, that there is not going to be any evangelism in heaven. The time to evangelize is now, and our time is short. Let us submit all our future plans to the Lord and ask Him for His guidance. May God bless each and every single one of you, and let us continue to exchange prayers daily.